Hello everybody. How are we doing tonight? I apologize for the extra long wait screen. Excuse me. So, tonight we, of course, as you can tell by the stream title, have... Oh, I need to check something real quick. Yeah, I have the... Never mind. No, I don't. Anyways. Yeah, so as you can tell from the title, we are finally going to see SHIROU and Archer's final confrontation tonight. It's going to be epic. And yeah, that's the high point of this night. I'm saying that like it's not a super high point, but it really is. I will say, right off the top, I do have a little bit of a headache. I did take something before starting stream, and I have both water and this Gatorade G-Fit stuff that my mom says helps with her migraines. Haven't tried it, but yeah, hopefully that won't be an issue. It probably won't. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get into this. This is the second to last day of Unlimited Blade Works. We are getting close to the finale! It's day 15. It is daybreak. The knight in red is leaning against a pillar and staring at his arm. Putting strength into his fingers, he makes a fist. His body is only half responding. Even heroic spirits cannot maintain their existence in this world without their masters. He still exists because of the special class ability of Archer, but he's almost at his limits. His remaining strength is not even a tenth of his original powers. His muscles are weak, and his body will slowly disappear if he loses focus. But there's no problem. Even if he has less than a tenth of his original power, it is enough to kill Emiya SHIROU. Considering the difference in their abilities, this isn't even a handicap. Therefore, it will end once they fight. His one and only objective will be accomplished here. That's right. He has waited for this time. He has endured the endless repetition hoping for this chance. He has awaited a miracle that would not occur, a miracle with a probability close to 0. And his wish was granted. No, it is about to be granted. He does not care what awaits him afterwards. He will kill his own self with his own hands. The hopeless, futureless wish is what kept him going after he wore out. He is an existence that disappears after each summoning. His memory does not remain, no matter how many times he repeats the cycle. It only stays in his body as knowledge. Heroic spirits recognize other heroic spirits because of these accumulated facts. It's just like a book. Every time a heroic spirit is summoned, the book with its story is sent to its home. The heroic spirit itself remains in the house, reading those books. The trouble is that the one at the house does not know when those books arrived. Past or future do not matter. All the books are already in his room. His only way of measuring time is to read the records of his cleaning that he will accomplish. It makes no difference if it's eternal or instantaneous. Eternity is instantaneous, and an instant is eternal. Wow, Archer would love it in Inazuma. Therefore, he does not know how rare this miracle is. He does not know if this is the first time or the 1000th time since he obtained this hope. All he has is unordered knowledge. Past, present, and future are meaningless for heroic spirits.
来客か。邪魔は入らんというから来てやったのだがな。
The knight in red suddenly gets up. Did his ears hear the sound of the intruder? Footsteps echo through the silent castle.
へえ、驚きだね、遠坂。半信半疑だったけど、本当にこんなところにいたんだ。
Ugh. A voice echoes. The rude intruder is a boy called Mato Shinji.
おっと、物騒な真似はなしだぜ、あーちゃん。こっちはお前に用はないんだ。お前だって遠坂に用はないんだろ。ならここで殺し合うことはないんじゃない？
Mato Shinji walks forward with light steps. He is looking at Tosaka, who is tied up. The girl glares silently at the intruder. That must delight him. He licks his lips in satisfaction and walks to the girl. Ugh, you are so creepy. Stared down by the knight, Mato Shinji looks up in annoyance.
何？やるっていうの？本気かよ。お前なんて相手になるわけないじゃんか。
He smiles and turns back to the entrance. There stands a man with golden hair, the 8th servant, Gilgamesh. Oh boy, is one of my favorite lines about to come up. Yes! He is literally a disaster. Oh, he sure is. Disaster and a half. The golden servant looks at the knight with cool eyes. But within them, the red eyes only show the intent to brutally kill the enemy in front of him. The knight in red is still silent. It makes no difference even if Mato Shinji appears, or if the strongest servant is ready to attack him. The knight calmly stares at the uninvited enemies.
ブルってるんだろ、あーちゃん。いいんだぜ。別に恥じゃない。あいつはバーサーカーだって難なく始末したサーバントなんだからさ。お前がおじけづくのも当然。
リンが欲しいのか、マトシンジ。
え？ああ、当然じゃないか。そうでもなければこんな城には近寄らないよ。
そうか。ならばことが済むまで待て。エミやシロを始末した後ならばくれてやる。それまであれは私のものだ。それが聞けぬとあれば仕方がない。不本意だがここで死ぬことになるぞ、ギルガメッシュ。
The knight's eyes remain on the golden servant as he speaks. Also, this Gatorade stuff, this G-Fit stuff is actually pretty good. Got a tropical mango flavor.
愉快だな、道化。
Were those words reason enough for the man to kill Archer? The golden servant identifies the knight in front of him as a target he must kill.
待てギルガメッシュ、早まるなよ。ことはスマートに行こう。いいじゃん。くれるってんだからもらっておこう。どうせアーチャーはマスターがいないんだ。何度も裏切ったこいつと契約するマスターなんていないんだしさ。ほっとけば消えるんだろ。遠坂はその後でもらえばいい。
Mato Shinji smiles and stares at the knight in red. It looks as if he is enjoying the fate of the one who is about to disappear.
賢明だな、マトシンジ。その判断は的確だ。君はある意味誰よりもマスターにふさわしい。
なんだ、あんた見どころあるじゃん。もったいない。それなら僕のところに来てれば契約してやったのに。
Stepping away from the knight, Mato Shinji claps his hands happily.
けど悪いね。もう他のサーバントなんていらないんだ。残念だけどさ。おとなしく消えちゃってよ。あんた。
言われるまでもない。それで結局どうするのだ。
ああ、待ってやるよ。エミヤを始末するまで遠坂は僕たちが守ってやろうじゃないか。けどそうだな。となるとあれはもう僕のだろう。なら何をしても構わないと思わない？
You are disgusting! He stares at the knight and Tosaka Rin with snake-like eyes. His words are to test the loyalty of the knight. To that,
傷をつけるなというのがエミやシロとの契約だが、それは夜明けとともに消える。刻限が来たのなら、あとは好きにするがいい。
the knight in red replies in an emotionless voice.
聞いたかよ、遠坂。お前のサーバント、マスターを売っ払うってさ。
Sneering laughter echoes in the dirty room. The knight exits as if he's not interested. Archer passes by Gilgamesh. Archer ignores his mocking gaze and walks into the hallway. At that instant,
フェイカ
the King of Heroes says so as if despising him. It's daybreak. There is less conversation as we make our way through the forest, and the silence gets heavier. I, Emiya Shiro, must fight that man when we get to the castle. There is no chance of victory, and a certain loss awaits. I know I'll just be killed once we start fighting. I'm not scared, but it's not because I'm prepared for it. If you talk about dying, that man is already dead. It is equivalent for Emiya Shiro to be dead the moment I figured that out. That being the case, I have no reason to worry. We go through the castle gate. Saber looks gloomy, maybe because she knows what kind of a fight awaits us. What's troubling her is him and me. No matter who gets killed and who survives, the one to be eliminated is the same. Her desire to stop this ridiculous fight is causing her pain. Her eyes stare at the sky sharply, and maybe she's angry at the meaningless battle. The hall is a ruin now. This place, covered with the morning mist, will become our place of death. I am so sorry, I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. The hall is a ruin now. This place, covered with the morning mist, will become our place of death.
来たか。随分と遅い到着だな、エミヤ・シロ。
A cold voice echoes. The familiar voice comes from the second floor. The man is standing at the top of the stairs, which are lit by the morning sun. His red outfit is far away, and his figure is hazy in the white glare. But I can see him. I can see my enemy in detail. That should be the same for the man with the hawk eyes. The servant with the role of archer given to him. He is an archer, but not an archer, and he is a contradictory existence that has many noble phantasms, yet carelessly destroys them. All his noble phantasms are duplications, and the fact that he's able to produce swords in infinite number is his noble phantasm. I was the only one who did not realize his true identity. Heroic spirits are summoned from every age. If nobody from the past corresponds to him, then the heroic spirit must be from the future.
ようやく気づいた。あのペンダントが2つあるはずがない。あれはもともと。
そうだ。あれは命を救われたお前が生涯持ち続けたもの。この世に2つとない。遠坂凛の父の形見だ。
It is impossible that two such pendants should exist. If Emiya SHIROU held on to the pendant throughout his life as he says, then...
英霊の召喚には必ず触媒が必要となる。お前がセイバーを召喚したように、召喚者と英霊にはつながりがなくてはならない。遠坂凛には英霊を呼び出すための触媒がなかった。故に彼女は呼び出したサーバントに何の縁もないと思い込んだ。
I don't remember. I don't think they go into this in the visual novel, but in the anime they show that Rin's father actually left her the catalyst that he used to summon Gilgamesh, which was a fossil of like the very first skin ever shed by a snake on Earth or something like that. But it broke, so she couldn't use it.
だが偶然で呼び出される英霊などいない。召喚者と英霊には必ず物質的な縁が必要となる。
If he's right, there can only be one answer. If Tosuka did not have a catalyst connected to Archer, then...
そう。召喚者ではなく、呼び出された英霊そのものが召喚者に縁のあるものを持っていた場合のみだ。
The jewel is the only one of its kind. My life was saved, but I did not know who saved me, so I held on to the pendant which I thought belonged to my savior. That's the answer. If he has Tosuka's pendant, then there's only one person who he can be. Heroic spirit Emiya. The future me. The heroic spirit before me is Emiya SHIROU, who perfected his skills and made his ideal come true. The knight in red, Archer, looks down at me from the top of the stairs. There's no one around him. He is standing alone in this vast hall.
アーチャー、遠坂はどうした？
あの小娘なら城のどこかに置いてきたが、気に病むのなら急げ。お前が来るのが遅いのでな、先に来た的を信じにくれてやったところだ。
だと。
お前との約束は守っている。俺は手出しはせん。他の人間が彼女に何をしようが、俺には関わりのないことだ。まあ、 結果は見えているがな。麻藤真司は遠坂凛に情欲と敵害を抱いている。あれに凛を預ければどうなるかは考えるまでもない。凛に挑発された小僧は我慢できずに唇を切り、今頃は妙なことになっているかもしれんぞ。
I get pissed off. Yeah, I would too, Shiro. How can he say such a thing so calmly?
ああ、焦るな、坊主。あのお嬢ちゃんなら俺に任せろ。何、すぐに助け出してやる。
ランサ
マスターからの命令でな。元から俺はあのお嬢ちゃんを死なせないために協力したわけだ。いや、これが思いのほか居心地よくてな。昨日のは悪くなかった。自分の仕事を気に入れるっていうのは俺にとっては珍しい。
With those words, Lancer ignores Archer and heads to the West Terrace.
ー、ランサー。
気にするな。これはあくまで俺の趣味だ。ま、今までいけすかねえ命令ばっかりだったからな。この命令は最後まで守り抜く。そっちはそっちで自分の面倒だけ見てやがれ。
あ、遠坂を頼む。
He lightheartedly replies with a yes. Then, Lancer stops and turns around as if he remembered something.
おい、何してんだセイバー。お前も来るんだよ。
Saber lowers her eyes painfully.
いいえ、私はここに残ります、ランサー。
She stands next to me and replies unlike a servant.
本気か？今のマスターはお嬢ちゃんだろ？サーバントが守るべきはマスターだけのはずだが。
分かっています。ですが、それでも私はここに残りたい。私はこの戦いを見守らなければ。
そうかよ。なら好きにしな。
Lancer leaves. He easily jumps up to the terrace and disappears into the passageway. Archer does not do anything. It's as if he's saying Tosaka is useless now. I step over the rubble and walk forward. I'm heading to the center of the room, at the foot of the stairs. Forcing down her emotions, Saber stands still to watch over our battle.
手出しはしないか。それはありがたい。ここまで来てセイバーに邪魔をされるようでは、リンと契約を切った意味がないからな。
I can hear Saber's hesitation. Saber takes a quick breath and replies to the man at the top of the stairs.
ええ、私は手出しをしません。何があろうと、あなたとシロの戦いの邪魔はしない。
それは結構。ならば安心して、小僧を始末できるというものだ。
はい。ですが、その代わりに一つだけ答えてほしい。アーチャー。なぜあなたはシロを殺そうというのです？
なぜも何もないだろう。そいつが俺を認められないように、俺もそいつを認められないだけだよ。
そんなはずはない。あなたはシロだ。エミやシロという人物の理想、英雄となった姿があなたではないのですか？ならどうしてこんな自分を殺すような真似をするのです？
Saber, have you somehow managed to spend 2 whole weeks with him and not pick up on the fact that Shiro kind of hates himself?
なぜそう思う？未熟だった頃のエミヤシロと、エミヤと呼ばれる英雄となった俺は別の存在だ。そうでなければ同時に存在などできないが。
それはあなたがサーバントになったからでしょ。時間軸にとらわれない守護者になったのなら、自身が生きた時代に呼ばれることもあると聞きます。あなたはシローだ。シローがずっと思い描いて、その努力が叶った姿があなたのはずだ。なのに、どうして？
She finishes in a broken voice. Why are you so different? Not responding, he starts down the stairs. He cannot answer that question. If he were able to, he would not be fighting here.
アーチャー
Saber steps forward to confront Archer.
いいんだセイバー、いいから下がっていてくれ。
I stop her with my hand and keep her at the entrance.
ですがシロ
気持ちは嬉しいけど話しても無駄だ。あいつは初めから俺を殺すことだけが目的だったんだから。
Saber bites her lip in frustration. Saber stares at me, then at Archer.
なぜなのですアーチャー私にはわからない。守護者とは死後英霊となって人間を守るものと聞いた。その英霊がなぜ自分自身を殺そうなどと考えるのか。
守護者だ。
Maybe something she said got through to him. He stops and looks down at Saber without emotion.
違うよセイバー。守護者は人間を守るものではない。あれはただの掃除屋だ。俺が望んでいた英雄などでは断じてない。
His voice sounds different. Also, I want to point out now, for anybody who may not have picked up on it, you see how Archer's eyebrows do this little zigzaggy, and then there's this extra line at the end? SHIROU's do the same thing. Very subtle hint that they are the same person. Not easy to pick up on in the visual novel because you don't actually see SHIROU's face very often. Hatred and scorn fill it now.
アーチャー
俺は確かに英雄になった。エミやシロという男が望んでいたように正義の味方になったんだ。
A superhero. Someone who will not harm anyone. Someone who will not retreat no matter what disaster he may face. Someone who can save everyone. Someone Emiya Shiro wanted to become. And that man became such a person?
アーチャー
ああ、確かにいくらかの人間を救ってきたさ。自分にできる範囲で多くの理想を叶えてきたし、英雄と遠い昔から憧れていた地位にさえついにはたどり着いたこともある。
英雄にたどり着いたならシロは報われたのですね。少なくともここにいるあなたはエミやシロの理想を叶えられたのでしょ。ならあなたには悔いなどないはずだ。シロはちゃんとその理想を叶えたのだから。
There's no conviction in her voice. She already knows. She knows that she is only voicing her own wish.
理想を叶えたか。確かに俺は理想通りの正義の味方とやらになったさ。だがその果てに得たものは後悔だけだった。残ったものは死だけだったからな。殺して殺して殺し尽くした。己の理想を貫くために多くの人間を殺して、無関係な人間の命だぞ、どうでもよくなるくらい殺して、殺した人間の数千倍の人々を救ったよ。
Saber stares at Archer, speechless. Bleh. She looks like someone who saw her own mirror image. Haha. Yeah.
そんなことを何度繰り返したかわからないんだ。俺は求められれば何度でも戦ったし、争いがあると知れば死をとして戦った。何度も何度も、思い出せないほど何度もだ。だって仕方がないだろう。 何を救おうと救われない人間というものは出てきてしまう。何度戦いを終わらせようと新しい戦いは生み出される。そんなものがある限り正義の味方っていうのはあり続けるしかないんだから。
Who did he direct that to? The knight slowly descends the stairs and recounts his past.
だから殺したよ。一人を救うために何十という人間の願いを踏みにじってきた。何十という人間の救いを殺して目に見えるものだけの救いを生かしてより多くの願いを殺してきた。今度こそ終わりだと、今度こそ誰も悲しまないだろうとつまらない意地を張り続けた。だが終わることなどなかった。生きている限り争いはどこに行っても目についた。キリがなかった。何も争いのない世界なんてものを夢見ていたわけじゃない。ただ俺はせめて自分が知り得る限りの世界では誰にも涙してほしくなかっただけなのにな。
That is definitely my own wish.
一人を救えばそこから視野は広がってしまうんだ。一人の次は10人、10人の次は100人、100人の次はさて何人だったか。そこでようやく悟ったよ。
それはなぜ？
分かりきったことを聞くな、セイバー。君ならば何度も経験したことだろう。全ての人間を救うことはできない。国を救うためにほんの少しの人間を見殺しにするなんていうのは日常茶飯事だっただろう。
The quiet voice is rendered powerless to object. The words of the Red Knight are Saber's darkness as well.
そう、席は限られている。幸福という椅子は常に全体の数より少なめでしか用意されない。その場にいる全員を救うことなどできないから結局誰かが犠牲になる。それを被害を最小限に抑えるためにいずれこぼれる人間を速やかに1秒でも早くこの手で切り落とした。それが英雄と
The wish for nobody to become sad. The desire to save as many people as possible. When the two coexist and contradict each other, there is only one solution. The only people a superhero can save are the people he sides with. If one is to lose everything by trying to save everything, it is correct to sacrifice one to save more.
多くの人間を救うというのが正義の味方だろ。だから殺した。誰も死なさないようにと願ったまま大勢のために一人には死んでもらった。誰も悲しまないようにと口にしてその陰で何人かの人間には絶望を抱かせた。そのうちそれにも慣れてきてね。理想を守るために理想に反し続けた。自分が助けようとした人間しか救わず敵対した者は速やかに皆殺しにした。犠牲になる誰かを容認することでかつての理想を守り続けた。それがこの俺、英雄エミヤの正体だ。そら、そんな男は今のうちに死んだ方が世のためと思わないか？
That's right. The only ones a superhero can save are people he sides with. But who was it that defied those words?
それは嘘です。たとえそうなったとしても、あなたならば その誰かを自分にして理想を追い続けたのではないですか。
The knight stops for a second. A frown crosses his face.
あなたは理想に反したのではない。守ったはずの理想に裏切られ、道を見失っただけではないのですか。そうでなければ、こんな自分を殺すことで罪を償おうなどとは思わない。
His ironic smile disappears. After coldly staring at Saber, he starts laughing like a madman, as if it's the funniest thing he's heard.
いや、これは傑作だ。俺が自分の罪を償う。バカなことを言うなよ、セイバー。償うべき罪などないし、他の誰にもそんな無責任なものを押し付けた覚えはない。
The knight calmly goes mad. He spoke in a small voice, but his laughter echoes through the hall.
ああ、そうだったよ、セイバー。確かに俺は何度も裏切られ、欺かれた。救ったはずの男に罪をかぶせられたこともある。死ぬ思いで争いを収めてみれば、争いの張本人だと押し付けられて、最後には公主代だ。そら、俺に罪があるというのなら、その時点で償っているだろう。
嘘だ、アーチャー。あなたの最後は。
まあそういうことだ。だがそんなことはどうでもよかった。初めから干渉してほしかったわけじゃない。英雄などともてはやされる気もなかった。俺はただ誰もが幸福だという結果だけが欲しかっただけだ。がそれが叶えられたことはない。生前もその死後も。
He has stopped laughing. There's only hatred in his voice now.
守護者とは霊長の存命のみを優先する無職の力だ。力は高きところにありて、人の世が滅亡する可能性が生じれば世に下る。それがただの奴隷であることは知っていた。死後、己が存在を守護者に預けた者は輪廻の枠から外れ、無と同意になるのだと。それでも誰かを救えるのならそれでいい。かつてのエミやシローはその誓いを守れなかった。なら守護者となって人間の滅亡とやらを食い止める一端になるのならそれでいいと思ったんだ。だが実際は違う。守護者は人など救わない。守護者がすることはただの掃除だ。すでに起きてしまったこと、作られてしまった人間の業をその力で無にするだけの存在だった。それは人を救うのではなく、世界に害を与えるであろう人々を善悪の区別なくなくすだけ。絶望に嘆く人々を救うのではなく、絶望と無関係に生を謳歌する部外者を救うために絶望する人々を排除するだけの殺戮者。馬鹿げた話だ。それが今までの俺と何が違う。
There's no difference. There was just more despair. He relied on a greater power since his powers alone were not enough. But it ended up being the same. He thought the power would make his wish come true, but it only made him do the same things on a greater scale.
アーチャー、あなたはずっとそんなことを。
それも慣れたよ。人間は繰り返す。どんな時代でも強者が弱者を奪い尽くすのだ。そしてそれが最も効率のいい繁栄だと思い知らされた。ああ、何度も見てきた。意味のない殺戮も意味のない平等も意味のない幸福も 俺自身が拒んでも見せられた。守護者となった俺にはもはや自分の意志などない。ただ人間の意志によって呼び出され、人間が作ってしまった罪の後始末をさせられるだけだったからな。
That is where he ended up. A being that repairs the damage caused by human desire. Guardians do not save people. Rather, they eliminate those who cannot be saved as if they never existed. Over and over. For many times, he saw people nearly destroy themselves through their own actions, and he burned them down like trash each time. Save as many people as possible. The man became a hero with that one wish, but in the end, he could not make it come true even once.
そうだ。それは違う。俺が望んだものはそんなことではなかった。俺はそんなもののために守護者になどなったのではない。
His anger is probably directed at himself. What is standing there is a worn-out corpse. The hero Emiya is doomed to always see the ugliness of those he wanted to save. He grew to hate them in the end. He grew to hate humans for repeating conflicts. He grew to hate himself for thinking that humans are sacred.
俺は人間の後始末などまっぴらだ。だが守護者となった以上、この輪から抜け出す術はない。そう、ただ一つの例外を除いて。
Murderous intent flares in his cold eyes. He isn't looking at Saber. There's only one objective for Archer: to kill his own self. But even if he dies, the real body of Emiya, who is in the place outside of the cycle and not bound by time, will not disappear. There is no elimination for Guardians. They are nothing to start with. It is meaningless to kill something that is not part of the real world. But there is one way for him to disappear. If someone who is to become a hero is killed before he becomes a hero, that hero will never come into existence. Therefore,
シロをここで殺すというのですか。他でもない。あなた自身の手によって。
see, here's the thing, Archer. There's this thing called the kaleidoscope. It's what they call the multiverse theory in this universe. But, like, it's not a theory. It's a real observable phenomenon. So for your plan to work, you would have to kill SHIROU in every possible reality, and that's just not possible.
そうだ。その機会だけを待ち続けた。果てしなくゼロに近い確率だ。だが、それにかけた。そう思わなければ自身を許容できなかった。ただその時だけを希望にして、俺は守護者などというものを続けてきた。
Because the Throne of Heroes, it being disconnected from time also means that it's disconnected from any one singular timeline. So it's got heroes from all sorts of different timelines.
それは無駄です、アーチャー。あなたはすでに守護者として存在しているのでしょう。ならもう遅い。今になって英雄となる前のエミやシロを消滅させたところで、あなた自身は消えはしない。
そうかもしれん。だが可能性のない話ではあるまい。過去の改ざんだけでは通じないだろうが、それが自身の手によるものならば矛盾は大きくなる。歪みが大きければ、あるいはここでエミヤという英雄は消滅する。それにな、セイバー、 俺はこの時だけを待って守護者を続けてきたのだ。これはただの八つ当たりだ。くだらぬ理想の果てに道化となり果てるエミやシロという小僧へのな。
And the knight in red comes down to the hall. Only Archer and I stand in the hall filled with rubble. There's nothing separating us. The reason is simple. He wants to kill me, and I just want to beat him up because I don't like him. I walk to the center of the hall. I won't be able to back out once I take a few more steps. But before that...
アーチャー、お前、後悔してるのか?
There's one thing I have to ask him.
無論だ。俺。いや、お前は正義の味方になどなるべきではなかった。
He spits those words out, and that dispels my last doubts.
そうか。それじゃあ、やっぱり俺たちは別人だ。
何？
俺は後悔なんてしないぞ。どんなことになったって後悔だけはしない。だから絶対にお前のことも認めない。お前が俺の理想だって言うんなら、そんな間違った理想は俺自身の手で叩き出す。
That's how I've been living up to now. I've always believed that I am right. As he says, I'm sure it's full of false courage and distortion. I've lost more than I've gained, but that's all the more reason why. I cannot withdraw for the sake of the things I've lost. I walk forward. My circuit has already started sketching the blueprint in my mind.
その考えがそもそもの元凶なのだ。お前もいずれ俺に追いつく時が来る。
Since there's no background music in this part, there is a song that I would love to play right now, but it would get me in so much trouble. Oh, for those of you watching, just open up another tab and look up, oh god, I'm blanking on the title. It's not Brave Shine. Which one is it? Last Stardust. Look up Last Stardust.
来ない。そんなもん、絶対に来るもんか。
はあ。それはつまり、その前にここで俺に殺されるということか。
I think in the anime, Last Stardust actually comes in a little bit later, but like it comes in much later in the fight, but I take a step towards my enemy. We're close enough to strike at each other. We don't have any weapons. We confront each other empty-handed. Emiya SHIROU is not a swordsman. We are beings that create swords. Then...
分かっているようだな。俺と戦うということは、権勢を競い合うということだと。
The twin swords appear in his hands. That night, the simple twin swords I admired in the Ryudo Temple. Rare swords that a legendary craftsman made at the price of his wife.
トレース。
I have never actually looked up the story behind Kansho and Bakuya. I don't know what it is. I activate the completed blueprint and reproduce the twin swords using my image. What a bad job. The twin swords I once thought were perfect are too unprecise compared to his. An inferior illusion will become a delusion. Probably, my swords will shatter and disappear when they crash against his. I take another step. Crunch. The rubble crunches under my foot. That serves as the signal.
俺の牽制についてこれるか。わずかでも精度を落とせば、それがお前の死に際になろう。
The opposing swords sweep through the air. They are drawn together like magnets and clash into each other. The search ends rather quickly. Lancer is thought to be specialized in battle, but he's actually skilled in magic. Gay Bolg is not the only thing he obtained in the Country of Shadows. He is the hero who obtained all 18 of the Runes of Origin. But since he prefers to battle using his lance, the magic rarely gets used. Fun fact, in Fate Grand Order, he has a caster alt who complains about not being summoned as a lancer. And now is one of the rare times.
Yosh, atari ka.
The thing that flies above the floor suddenly drops. The Berkana rune finishes its search and turns back into a stone.
誰だお前。
An unfamiliar boy stands up in confusion. Lancer realizes that he knows the voice and recalls who it is.
ライダーのマスターじゃねえか。なんだ、とっくの昔にくたばったもんと。
He stops halfway. He sees Tosuka Rin behind the boy. She's tied to a chair. That's fine. That's to be expected since she's captured. But there's a bit more to the girl. First of all, the chair is on the ground. She's tied to the chair, so Tosuka Rin is also on the ground. Her long black hair is covered in sand, and something red can be seen on her mouth. She must have cut her lip. There is also a slight bruise by her mouth.
お前、ランサーか。なんだよ。誰に断ってここに来たんだ。話が違うぞ。お前は。
The fist smashes into Mato Shinji's cheek. The light back fist blows the boy to the wall.
おお、ああ、悪いなガキ。口より先に手が出ちまった。
He didn't kill the boy since it was unconscious. But it would not have been unconscious if Tosuka Rin looked paler and her clothes were more disordered. He would have consciously tried to blow the boy's head off if that were the case. Actually, Lancer does not care how a captive is treated, but he will not tolerate having his spoils snatched by someone else. Listen, I love Lancer, but sometimes he is a product of his era. Spoils for him are enemies he has to kill and women he favors. Tosuka Rin groans, still tied up to the chair. She must have been unconscious, as her voice is not too much different from when she wakes up.
Yeah, 朝だぜ。起きろぐうたら。
Lancer gives an out-of-place greeting and walks to Tosuka Rin.
なんでここアインツベルンの城よ。
承知している。ああ、いいから動くな。今その手枷を切ってやる。その後は好きにしろ。広間に行ってバカどもの喧嘩を止めるなり、裏口から帰るのも自由だ。
The red lance appears.
それは助かるけど。ランサー、後ろ。
Lancer turns around at Rin's warning. The one appearing there is unexpected even for him. The corner of the room. The one walking past Mato Shinji is...
そこまでだランサー。協力しろとは言ったが、深入りしろとは言わなかったぞ。
Hello, Kirei. Kotomine Kirei, the one assumed to have been killed by Castor. Rin lets out a surprised voice. Lancer glares suspiciously at the priest.
おい、いつから終始買いしやがったんだお前。俺のマスターは表には出てこないのが信条だったんじゃなかったか。
変えるような収支などない。そういうお前こそ命令違反だぞランサー。アーチャーの始末を命じたはずだが仕損じたか。
あれは放っといても自滅する。その前にやり残した仕事を片付けに来たんだが、お前がここにいるということは、そこのガキはお前の差し金か。
人聞きが悪いな。彼とは協力関係だ。聖杯を手に入れるため共に認め合った仲だが。
The priest says so without looking at the boy moaning in the rubble.
そう。あんたがそう簡単にくたばるわけないと思ったけど、しぶとく生きてるばかりか。裏でこそこそ手を回してたのね。悪趣味ここに極まるっていうか、人畜無害な神事を懐柔してどうしようっていうのよ、キレ。
Awfully bold of you to call Shinji harmless with the position he just had you in, Rin.
なるほど。あれを人畜無害と取るか。この状況においてもお前は遠坂凛らしい。もう少し出来の悪い弟子ならば惜しむこともないのだが。
The priest laughs. He looks and sounds as though he's giving a benediction to the dying. A chill runs up the girl's spine. At that moment, she realizes her fate. With a saintly smile, the priest gazes upon Sacrifice, who had been his pupil for the past 10 years.
待てよ、琴峰。その女はどうするつもりだ。教え子を助けたいと言ったお前の言葉は嘘だったのか。
Lancer glares at his master while standing in front of the girl.
嘘なものか。彼女はここまで育てた大切な駒だ。10年にわたり欺き続けたのだから、そう簡単にリタイアされてはつまらん。故にお前に彼女の警護を任せたのだ。わずか2日ばかりの延命だったが、親心としては十分すぎるのではないかな。
The priest walks past Lancer and looks down at the girl on the ground. The girl glares at her former instructor.
SS 神父。あんたならやりかねないと思ったけど、本当にマスターだったなんてね。監督役のくせにゲームに参加するなんて、反則もいいところじゃない。
その割には落ち着いているな、リン。やはり気づいてはいたのか。
当然でしょ。自分のサーバントを見せなかったのもあんたを疑ってたからだもの。けどね、まさか初めっから騙されてるとは思わなかったわ。
初めから。
Then, the priest frowns as if the words are unexpected.
何よ、文句あるっていうの、キレ。
いや、初めからというが、それはどのあたりを指しているのかと思ってな。
The priest grins. He looks down at the girl with utmost pleasure.
また、キレ、あんた。
それは今回の聖杯戦争が始まってからか。それともお前が言う初めからとは前回の聖杯戦争を言っているのかね。
I will be right back again. I am so sorry. I will let you all sit with this revelation for a bit. Okay, I am back. I apologize once again. That should be the last time I have to get up. Let us continue. With that, the girl understands everything. Her face turns pale, and she looks up at the man she studied under for 10 years in disbelief.
そう。殺したのはあんただったんだ。
当然だろう。恩師であったからな。騙し討ちはたやすかった。
A grinding sound. The girl hangs her head and grits her teeth.
行き場に迷えクソ神父。断言してやるけど、あんたに居場所なんてないんだからね。地獄だってあんたみたいなのは願い下げで、煉獄だって他の連中がずぶとくなる点でたらい回しよ。あんたみたいな生き損ないはね、性に合わない天国あたりで針のむしろにくるまってろっての。
Now, Rin, I'm not sure if impotent is the right word for him. He does have a child. You just haven't met her yet. But she is out there. And you will meet her in about 8 months in universe. The girl keeps on cursing him. Of course, the priest does not care about such things. But the boy is overawed by her change. Mato Shinji never thought Tosuga Rin would show this much emotion.
琴峰、遠坂は僕がもらったんだって知ってるだろう。あいつに用があるのは僕だけだ。あんたはただ教会でこっちの守備を待ってればいいんだよ。
いや、用ならばある。彼女にはここで聖杯になってもらわねばならないからな。
Also, I don't believe they ever mention this in any version of Fate Stay Night. But, Kirei did not only kill Rin's father. He betrayed and killed her father, and then he went and organized, like, he arranged the event that left Rin's mother so severely brain damaged that she became completely unable to care for her child. He is single-handedly the reason that Rin is an orphan. Mato Shinji does not understand what the priest is saying. The only ones who understand are the priest and the sacrifice, Tosuga Rin.
アーチャーとセーバーが消えればいい加減頃合いだ。いらぬ抵抗され、鮮度を落とされても困る。ことは迅速に済ませてしまおう。
The priest walks away from the girl with those words. The only one in front of Tosuga Rin is Lancer.
琴峰、貴様。
そのゴミを始末しろ、ランサー。器に心臓はいらん。
Only Mato Shinji reacts to those words. Tosuga Rin glares at the priest, but bites her lip without speaking. The priest's smile already told her she was going to be killed here. She understands that she will not be saved and that she won't be heard even if she begs for her life. That's why she doesn't complain. That is the only way she can resist, and that is her will of opposition. She won't give up until the very last second. Help might arrive even at this moment, and she might be the only one that survives after this room miraculously crumbles.
ありえない話だけど。
She won't give up, but she also understands it's impossible. That's why she has no fear. Except for one thing. She imagines that boy's expression when he finds her dead after coming to save her. She doesn't want him to cry. It angers her that she's the cause of his tears, and she doesn't know how she can apologize to him. No, she can't apologize if she dies, but she still doesn't want him to cry.
ごめん、メニア君。
私先にリタイアする。
So she decides to apologize ahead of time. It does no good, but it calms her down.
どうしたランサー。相手は少女。貫くのはたやすかろう。
The priest shows no mercy. To that,
お断りだ。今回のは従えねえ。俺にやらせたかったらその霊樹でも使うんだな。
Lancer replies while looking at the priest as if he is an enemy.
何？
The priest narrows his eyes. The master and the slave. The air inside the room freezes as they stare at each other.
そうか。仕方あるまい。自分でできることに霊樹を消費するわけにはいかんのだが。
He raises his left arm. The priest activates the command spell on his arm.
では命じよう。自害しろランサー。
He vomits up blood, but that is nothing compared to the blood spilling from his chest.
ことみね。貴様。
His voice is a whisper now. The spearman, Lancer's chest and heart are pierced by his own lance.
さらばだ。お前の役目はとうに終わっている。
The man in blue armor falls to the floor. Redness permeates the floor. There's no sign of him getting back up. The spearman in blue has been defeated by his own lance at the command of his own master. The priest moves. He walks over to the girl and crouches down. Her heart. He stoops so that he can easily pull out Tosuka Rin's heart.
ことみね。約束が違うじゃないか。遠坂は僕にくれるって言っただろう。
The priest gives the boy a wordless glance.
ダメだ。遠坂はダメだ。そいつには借りがいっぱいあるんだから。生きていてくれなくちゃ困る。
Mato Shinji protests, his teeth chattering at the sight of Lancer's corpse. But he stops. The boy slowly retreats, unable to take the priest's stare. The priest looks at the boy, or looks from the boy back to the girl.
最後に何か言い残すことはあるか。遺言ぐらいは聞こう。
His words are simple.
こういう時の私が何を考えているか、あんたなら知ってるはずでしょ。
Tosuka Rin answers in her normal manner.
そうだな。最後まで諦めないのがお前だ、リン。同時に覆らない現実を瞬時に認めるのもお前の素晴らしさだ。いいぞ。その矛盾はなかなかに芳醇だ。
He shows no hesitation. The priest grabs the girl's breast, right on top of her heart. The girl closes her eyes at the sensation. A pierce. The heart is pierced and blood gushes out. Even after being abandoned, the room is still used as a disposal for corpses. The one to gasp is Tosuka Rin. Blood drips onto the floor. The dripping sound is made by something above her. From the chest of the priest who is looking down at the girl. Blood pours from his mouth. The wound on his chest is fatal. The weapon protruding from his back is the cursed lance that always strikes its target. The priest shows no emotion. With his lips covered in blood, he turns to Lancer.
ランサー貴様
Battle continuation, baby!
あいにくだったなことみね。この程度でくたばれるんならよ、俺は英雄になんぞなってね。
Anyone can tell that the ironic voice is bluffing. Lancer has no vitality. He has no heart, and his body is about to disappear. The demonic lance is pulled out. The priest, having nothing to show for his departure, falls and dies. No matter how great his mastery of magic or how powerful his divine protection, he is still a mere human. There is no way for him to be alive after being stabbed in his heart by the demonic lance.
たく、結局こうなったか、たわけ。
The knight leans against the wall and tries to hold up his disappearing body. But it's only temporary. Lancer will disappear once he falls to the ground. He lost his heart and his master. He is still able to maintain his body because of his dirty survival tricks.
いいじゃんいいじゃん。バカどもは勝手に殺し合ってたよ。
シンジ。
Awfully bold of you not to count yourself among the idiots. The girl, who was staring at the dead priest, is brought back to reality by the laughing voice.
何が聖杯は君のものだ。だよ。役立たずは最後まで役立たずだったな、神父さん。
Mato Shinji kicks the priest's corpse. The dead man does not move. That must have pleased him, as the boy kicks the priest's head with all his might. A heavy smacking sound echoes in the room. The sensation and the sound excite Mato Shinji more than he expected.
けど文句は言わないでおくよ。さっきのことは根に持ってないし、死んじゃったやつにあれこれ言うのはみっともないしさ。
He laughs. The boy, whose sanity is almost gone, walks toward Tosaka Rin with staggering steps.
待たせたね、遠坂。いろいろ邪魔が入ったけど、これでようやく二人きりだ。残るサーバントもあと3人。ここで君が泣き疲れた頃には、全部型がついてるさ。
He literally goes on all fours to get on top of Tosaka Rin like a lizard.
けどよかった。お前にはいろいろ用があったんだ。ほんと困るよ、遠坂。簡単に死なれちゃあさ。ここまで我慢してきた僕に申し訳がないってもんだろ。さあ、こびてみろよ、遠坂。お前の態度次第で助けてやらないこともないぜ。それに聖杯はもう僕のものだ。ここで僕のものになるって言うなら、お前にだって分けてやっても。
呆れた。本当にバカじゃないの、あんた。
Then, even while she's tied up and being licked on her cheek by the boy, Tosaka Rin speaks up.
まだ懲りないのかって言ってるのよ、シンジ。あんたは綺麗にいいように使われてただけでしょ。いい？あのサーバントは扱いきれるものじゃない。そんなこと近くにいるんだからあんただって分かってるでしょ。ならいい加減目を覚ましてこんな殺し合いから手を引けっていうの。今ならまだ間に合うのはそっちの方よ。死にたくなかったら1秒でも早くここから逃げ出しなさい。
何を言い出すかと思えば、結局は命乞いじゃんか。バカはお前だよ、遠坂。目障りな琴峰は死んだんだぜ。今さら何が僕の邪魔をするって言うんだ。
Mato Shinji runs his fingers along the girl's body. At that instant,
おい、
Lancer killed this clown. Mato Shinji is punched away once again. He is flung to the wall.
ガキが。そいつはてめえなんかが触れていい女じゃねえ。
Lancer glances at the boy and walks lazily to the girl.
何死に損ないの分際で僕に意見しようっていうの
The spearman stops. He now turns to Mato Shinji.
おとなしく寝ていれば苦しまずに死ねたってのにな。さっきといい今度といいお前楽には殺さないからな。ほら出番だぜギルガメッシュ。こいつカッコつけて死にたいんだってさ。
He raises his voice. Mato Shinji's servant, the one who can kill any heroic spirit, is summoned by his master and...
おいなんだよ何やってんだよあいつ。
Saber's out there. You think he gives a shit about this?
聞こえないのか早く来いって言ってるだろ。
His voice sheepishly echoes through the room. The golden servant does not appear. The spearman, covered in blood, takes another step towards the annoying boy.
くそくそくそくそくそなんだよお前死に損ないのくせに何かっこつけてんだよ。消えろよ目障りだってわかんないのかよこの化け物。
The lance is thrust. The quick thrust pierces Mato Shinji through his right shoulder. His scream tears through the room. Lancer pulls out the lance with an almost bored expression and points it at Mato Shinji's temple.
うせろ。死に損ないでもな。お前程度なら1000人殺したところで支障はない。
Retreating to the wall and shivering, Mato Shinji runs away.
たく、無駄な体力使わせやがって。
Letting out a big sigh, he walks over to the girl. The lance cuts away the girl's bonds like paper.
ありがとう。助かったわ、ランサー。
She thanks him as soon as she's freed. Unmindful of the dirt that covers her, she bows to Lancer.
ま、成り行きだからな。礼を言われる筋じゃねえ。
At that instant, he falls.
ランサー
She tries to catch him, but does not make it. Lancer, who was leaning against a wall, crumples onto the ground. His legs won't move. Lancer's limbs are already dead. The fact that he still got up, killed his master, and freed her is unbelievable. Gushing blood stains his blue armor red.
待ってて、すぐに傷を塞ぐから。
Rin runs to the bloody spearman, but Lancer stops her by raising his hand.
無駄だ。俺のゲイボルクで破壊された心臓は簡単には治らん。だいたいな、そんな余分なマルカ残ってねえだろお前。
けどそれじゃ。
まあ気にするな。こういうのには慣れてる。英雄ってのはな、いつだって理不尽な命令で死ぬものなんだからよ。
His casual talk is like always. The blue spearman does not change his tone, even on the verge of his death. The girl stands there speechless. Looking up at her, Lancer sighs as if the weight is lifted off his shoulders.
いや、お互いつまんねえ相棒を引いちまったな。
そうね。けど、私のはつまんないっていうより、扱いづらいだけだったかな。
違いない。お前のような女が相棒だったら言うことはなかったんだが、あいにく昔からいい女とは縁がなくてな。まったくこればっかりは何度繰り返しても治らねえみてえだ。
He laughs in self-derision. Then...
さあ、早く行け。こいつは俺が連れて行く。お前はお前の相棒のところに戻らないと。
The spearman in blue urges the girl. Lancer is holding the Anzus rune. I am probably mispronouncing these rune names, by the way, and I apologize for that. The rune containing his remaining magical energy will burn this room to ashes. Understanding his determination, the girl turns her back to Lancer.
さよならランサー。短い間だったけど、私もあなたみたいな人は好きよ。
She runs to the entrance hall.
小娘がもうちっと年取って出直してこい。
He sounds happy. The room erupts in flames. The blaze burns Lancer's body and his master's corpse, without leaving a trace. The red lance and the blue armor disappear in the flames like empty illusions. The same swords, the same techniques clash. My attack and his attack are the same. But still, the blades chip away and my body is wounded the more we fight. The attack that I blocked breaks through. Kancho in my left hand is destroyed by his Kancho, and his weapon sweeps at me from the side. I twist my body to dodge it, but it still slashes me. Although not immediately fatal, the wound will eventually overcome me. I bear the pain by cursing and swing Bakuya at the close enemy. It's blocked and destroyed as well. We have the same swords and the same techniques, but there is a gap that I cannot fill.
お前の感想と俺の感想が同等とでも思ったか。お前はまだまだ基本骨子の想定が甘い。いかにイメージ通りの外見材質を保とうが、構造に利がなければ崩れるのは当然だ。イメージといえど筋が通ってなければ瓦解する。
My temple and my side. He attacks both my vital spots at once. I immediately project the twin swords and parry the attack. My head hurts to the point of blurring my sight. It's not because of the strain of immediate projection. This is that headache. The instinct I felt when I was searching for Tosaka. The slight fever I got every time I faced him. That strain now threatens to drive me mad. I parry his attacks. I step in and slash at his body. The red headache burns my eyes every time I do so. Is it because of the contradiction that Emiya Shiro and heroic spirit Emiya are existing at the same time? Ever since we recognized each other's identities, my body breaks every time we touch each other. I traced his sword technique and even his reproduction ability. It's natural for them to suit me. His abilities are Emiya Shiro's optimal technique, perfected over many years of training. There's no way it would not suit me. In trying to match his skill, I allowed myself to learn too much about my future self. My eyeballs go numb. Every time I swing the sword, every time the sparks fly out, I'm attacked with a flash so strong that it could blind me. I am no match for him, and my vision fills with red every time we exchange blows. If that's the worst of it, I don't care. My body is already torn apart. My headache is nothing compared to the burning wound in my stomach. The problem is that the headache won't stop because there's something I'm still drawing out from him.
都合5本目だな。投影による複製ではそろそろ限界か。お前の魔力量はよくわかっている。そのざまでは残り3本。わざわざあれを見せてやったというのに、未だそんな勘違いをしているとはな。
His scornful voice contains some disappointment. misunderstand. I don't care about that. More than anything, I have to do something about this headache right now. The thing flowing from you.
ともあれ、至ったところで不可能ではあるか。今のエミやシローが生成できる魔力では足りない。そう。どちらにせよ。
My headache gets worse. He raises his twin swords to finish the match.
貴様に賞賛など一部たりともなかったということだ。
He swings them down in a cross. The swords I blocked them with are destroyed. My body becomes numb as if a hammer had been smashed on it, and my headache the headache finally sears my brain as well as my eyes. It's flowing into me. So, this is scarier than the pain. This is his memory. The reason he changed so much. I can see bits and pieces of what will happen to Emiya Shiro in the future. I don't know if it was correct or not. Nobody will be able to determine that. The beautiful things were ugly, and the ugly things were beautiful. There is nothing disgusting once you look at it objectively. So why is there such a deviation? Sophistry, falsehood, trickery, vanity. Those are what he saw the most.
I am the bone of my soul.
But still, it seems he did not care. There was an ideal and an oath he had to protect. He did not care what he lost to do so. Even when he was betrayed, he believed there would be a next time if he did not betray himself. He did not show grief or pain.
Steel is my body, and fire is my blood.
He's like a cold-blooded machine to others. He was a convenient existence, so he was conveniently used. He was only a tool in other people's eyes. But the machine had an ideal it wanted to protect, so it accepted its role as a convenient tool.
I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death, and unknown to life.
It's not something to go around proclaiming. The more he kills and the more he is unable to save, the less he can talk about his ideal. The only thing left for him is to obstinately protect his ideal until the very end. And the result? The ideal Emiya Shiro dreamed of has never been accomplished. And he found out that it's just nonsense dreamed by a fool who is only a nuisance to others.
Hell withstood pain to create many weapons.
See, this is his end. See, this is your end. My mind gives in. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion, but my mind almost gives in, thinking that I will be following this exact path.
Yet, those hands will never hold anything.
What you believed in. What you believe in. You're shown that it is just a fantasy that is covered with lies, and still... His weapon closes in. A horn-like sword comes to pierce my heart. I get away. I have in my hands the twin swords I quickly projected. I force down my nausea. What was I seeing? Forget it. Forget what you just saw. You need to defeat him. You should focus everything on that goal.
計算違いだ。前世の自分を高齢、憑依させることで、かつての技術を習得する魔術があると聞くが、俺と打ち合うたびに、お前の技術は鍛えられていくようだな。
My shoulders heaving, I prepare myself for his attack.
となると、引き出したものは投影技術だけではあるまい。その顔、今にも吐きそうな最低の面構えからすると、お前も見たな。
My breathing stops. Don't let me say it. Don't let me recall it. If you say what I just saw,
ならば話は早い。それは全て事実だ。エミヤしろ。
His red cloak moves. He closes in on me in an instant and thrusts the horned sword. It's destroyed in one blow. There's no way a hastily constructed sword, and a first attempt at that, would match his sword. But even though I'm empty-handed, he throws away his sword. He projects Durandal, the renowned sword of the king. I skip about 4 steps and quickly reproduce his weapon. But of course, such an imitation is destroyed in one blow. I fall. I'm repelled and I land with my back on the rubble. That surprises me. The rubble turns red just by having me fall on top of it. Oh. I already know, but it seems my body is almost dead, outside and inside.
そこまでだ。叶わないと知ってなおここに現れる愚かさ。生涯くだらぬ理想にとらわれ、自らの意志を持たなかったまがい者。それが自身の正体だと理解したか。
His voice echoes. My body is covered with wounds. It's bad how the wounds are so deep that I can reach inside them and take out my bones.
そんなものに生きている価値はない。何よりこの俺が確信しているのだ。エミヤシロウという男の人生に価値などない。ただ救いたいから救うなど。そもそも感情として間違えている。人間として故障したお前は、初めからあってはならない偽物だった。
My magical energy is almost depleted. Not only that, the magic circuit to run the magical energy is burned up. No, if I talk about it burning up, it burned up yesterday when I used projection. It's just that an almost broken thing completely broke. But my body is telling me I can still fight. My mind bluffs itself, saying that it has not given in. Then, I have to get up and defeat him.
無駄なこと。俺はお前の理想だ。叶うはずなどないと、今ので理解できたはずだが。
I focus the last of my will on the magic circuit. My split nerves scream, but I carefully put together the 8 steps. I project his twin swords. Kansho and Bakuya, 2 great swords named after an ancient swordsmith. I swing them. I keep attacking until my remaining energy runs out. My twin swords are met by twin swords. Archer now holds Kansho and Bakuya and parries my attacks without retreating.
そうか。認めるわけにはいかないのは道理だな。俺がお前の理想である限り、エミヤシロウは誰よりも俺を否定しなければならない。
His calm tone pisses me off. I can't even breathe, but he is calm and composed. I attack with all my energy. He does not parry my attacks, but pushes them back. I'm pushed back along with my twin swords. The difference in our powers is obvious. There's no way for me to win with pure strength.
では聞くがな、シロ。お前は本当に正義の味方になりたいと思っているのか？
For an instant, my mind blanks out from the surprise attack.
何を今さら俺はなりたいんじゃなくて絶対になるんだよ。
I glare back at him. Then...
そう。絶対にならなければならない。なぜならそれはエミやシロウにとってただ一つの感情だからだ。逆らうことも否定することもできない感情。たとえそれが自身の内から現れたものでないとしても。
He stops me with words that grab my heart. Not born from within me. I deny them even before I think about what those words mean. I can't let him finish. I can't realize that fact. If I find out, Emiya Shirou's foundation will crumble.
ほう。その様子ではうすうす感づいてはいたようだな。いや、初めから気づいていて、それを必死に遠ざけていただけだったのか。
I start to say before I stop myself. I don't want to know. I know that I shouldn't know. But still, I know that I must know. The contradiction of Emiya Shirou. The answer to what is wrong with me and how I am distorted.
俺にはもはやお前の記憶などない。だが、それでもあの光景だけは覚えている。一面の炎と充満した死の匂い。絶望の中で助けを請い、叶えられた時の感情。エビ。
Oops, I keep cutting him off, my bad. I realized that it is natural to die, and my mind emptied out. I was saved at that time. The man who saved me smiled with tears in his eyes. That is what I thought was beautiful.
そうだ。お前はただ一人助けられたことで、助けられなかった人々に後ろめたさを感じていたわけじゃない。ただ、エミやキリツグに憧れただけだ。あの男のお前を助けた顔があまりにも幸せそうだったから、自分もそうなりたいと思っただけ。
That's right. It's not me that got saved at that time. It's not an assumption, or it's an assumption I did not even think about. If that fire was Kiritsugu's fault, he shouldn't have been able to bear that fact. A tragedy without any survivors. Kiritsugu, the one who caused it, must have frantically searched for a survivor. And he finally found a survivor that should not have existed. The man found a surviving child that could not be saved. If you talk about miracles, it is... But I knew about that already. I don't care about his circumstances. It was enough for me that he got me out of that hell. Even if it may have been for himself, it's true that he tried to save me and wished for my survival. That's enough. Emiya Kiritsugu saved a boy who had nothing. So...
そう。子が親に憧れるのは当然だ。だが、お前はそれが行き過ぎた。エミやキリツグに。エミやキリツグがなりたかったものに憧れるだけならよかった。だが、最後に奴はお前に呪いを残した。言うまでもないだろう。それがお前の全てだと言ってもいい。
じいさんの夢は俺だ。
That's the answer. Hearing my casual remark, he left the words, "I'm relieved," behind him. And then that man, who was emptier even than me, died. At that moment, Emiya Shirou had to become a superhero. My will does not matter. For his sake, I simply tried to become what he had admired since he was small. The wish for everyone to be happy is an impossibility dreamed not by me, but by Emiya Kiritsugu.
気づいているのだろう、シロ。 お前の理想はただの借り物だ。エミヤキリツグという男がなりたかったもの、エミヤキリツグが正しいと信じたものを真似ているだけに過ぎない。
それは。
I grit my teeth, desperately trying to resist my mind that is about to give in. But
正義の味方だと笑わせるな。誰かのためになるとそう繰り返し続けたお前の思いは決して自ら生み出されたものではない。そんな男が他人の助けになるなどと思い上がりも甚だしい。
he attacks with his swords. With the weight of his contempt behind them, the twin swords are swung more strongly than ever before. Seeing those raging swords, I accept my own death, just as I did 10 years ago. The force comes smashing down. There is no elegance in those attacks, and they are executed only using his strength. My left arm shakes from blocking the attack. My fingers that held onto the sword break. The sword I made using all my remaining power is bent back by one blow. I'm dead. I'm on the verge of death from the first blow, so there's no way I will be able to block the next attack. But still, my mind is about to give in, but my body denies it with all its might. It's telling me I'm wrong. It appeals to me, saying it's wrong to give in to his words and to die here. I raise my head. My eyes aren't functioning. They don't see the enemy, but show his memories. In them, I see myself curling up and desperately trying to live. The echoing of the swords isn't all I hear. He curses himself every time he attacks.
そうだ。誰かを助けたいという願いが綺麗だったから憧れた。
I block the oncoming attack. Bakuya is destroyed. All I have left is Kancho in my left hand.
故に自身からこぼれ落ちた気持ちなどない。これを偽善と言わず何という。
Kancho is bent and its existence is fading. My heart is hurting. Not because of his attacks. His words slash at my heart.
この身は誰かのためにならなければならないと脅迫観念に突き動かされてきた。それが苦痛だと思うことも破綻していると気づく間もなくただ走り続けた。
He keeps on denying himself. My heart tries to give up every time I hear him. My body wants to succumb to the force of his attacks. But still, that same body keeps desperately denying him.
だが、所詮は偽物だ。そんな偽善では何も救えない。いいな。もとより何を救うべきかも定まらない。
I'm smashed away. An attack as strong as one of Berserker's easily flings away Emiya Shirou's body. But I still hold my ground. I frantically endure the attack coming down at me. I will not be able to get back up if I fall down. So my body refuses to let me fall. I thrust the rapidly fading Kancho into the ground and lean on it. My body sags forward, and I cannot even stand upright. I use Kancho as a cane and hold up my falling body with my arms. I must look pitiful. I might look as if I'm kneeling down and begging him.
その理想は破綻している。自身より他人が大切だという考え、誰もが幸福であってほしい願いなど空想のおとぎ話だ。そんな夢を抱いてしか生きられないのであれば、抱いたまま溺死しろ。
Hey, you said the thing again! He says that there's no value in living. No. In my life itself. My weapon is about to disappear, and there's little point in trying to keep my body from falling. In contrast, he isn't even scratched. The match is decided. No, the match had been decided from the start. There is no way for Emiya SHIROU to beat heroic spirit Emiya. But that is a mistake. If the difference in our powers was large, the fight wouldn't have turned out like this. It is my mind that lost. My mind was weak because I realized that I am wrong and that he is right. That was my only failure. Because...
Nani?
Because my body has been telling me I will not lose to you. Why? Why did power enter my body every time he cursed my ideal as fake?
ふざけんなこんちくしょう
I'll reach it. I'll definitely reach it. If parts of me are broken, then I just need to use the parts that aren't. If everything I have is broken, then use the parts I don't have. If my body hasn't lost yet, I can just reach out to the part of me that hasn't been used yet. A headache. An instant of a few milliseconds. I see him, probably for the last time. I could not understand him, but I guess I can use his pain as a lesson. A hero who used a poem about himself as his spell. Even if I don't understand the meaning behind it, I will accept those words in your place.
体は
I start the spell so that I can be proud of myself. Emiya's words hurt Emiya. He accepted that fact and chose to kill me. That's the only thing he could wish for in the end. Then, just as you deny me, I will defeat you with all my powers. Yeah.
剣でできている
I murmur the words without realizing it. I raise my head. I pour determination into my dying body. I swallow the blood clotting in my throat. Yang Sword Kansho regains its image.
貴様まだ。
そうだこんなのが夢だなんてそんな
This is just a dream. But I kept on believing in it because I thought it was right. Kiritsugu pursued it because he knew it was an unattainable dream, an impossible ideal. Even if it may be unattainable, he believed that he would reach his destination if he kept running.
そうか。彼女の鞘。契約が切れたところで、その死後は続いている。
I ready my sword. I don't care about that.
お前には負けない。誰かに負けるのはいい。けど、自分には負けられない。
I'm gonna turn the game volume up a little bit. Because it's the best track in the game. I will keep on being Emiya SHIROU. It is an unbelievable technique. His attacking body is on the verge of death. His fingers are broken, his limbs are slashed, and his breathing has stopped without him even realizing it. His speed is nothing, and his attack is mediocre. The boy that has absorbed his combat skills to the point where he's able to fight decently has now returned to fighting without them. An unskilled, frantic attack. But still, this blow is heavier than any that came before. Archer's indifference turns into surprise within a second. The swinging swords are crazy. They clash against his longsword with unimaginable speed. Where's his power coming from? The attacks are unlike before. He cannot go into defense. This attack should cut through the boy's neck. Realizing that he cannot make light of the boy, he swings his sword. Up and down, left and right. The 4 attacks are enough to cut off his limbs and to cut up his body to pieces. The boy blocks them. No, exceeding his 4 attacks, the sword comes to slash his neck. Bringing back the longsword, he parries the attack. He intuitively understands that he will be killed unless he attacks. The longsword attacks the enemy that is on the verge of death, and the boy frantically swings his sword. Their swords crash in balance. The space is filled with sparks, and anything entering the space should be cut to pieces. But it should be the last spark that a dying man gives off. The boy loses his breath every time he attacks, almost falls, holds his ground, and attacks again. The sight reassures him. There is no power left in his enemy. The boy in front of him is literally on the verge of death. So why do those arms have seemingly infinite power? I have no consciousness. I can neither tell what the enemy is doing, nor if my attacks are doing anything. My muscles are screaming for oxygen, and the lack of blood keeps ordering my body to stop. I suppress them all together by force. That's all that's filling my head. My ideal is fake. He's right. I can't be a superhero. As long as I admire such a thing, I will end up like the man before me. But I felt beauty in it. I know it's just hypocrisy to value everyone else over yourself. But still, I admired it, thinking how great it would be if I could live that way. That's the only thing driving my dying body. He cannot hear what his enemy is saying. His enemy's voice is weak, yet his attacks are relentless. Looking, the boy's hands are one with the sword's hilt. It must be to keep the sword in place, but that will transfer the impact directly to his body. The boy is covered in blood, and he will fall forward and die if he retreats. Even swinging the sword should come with great pain. He blocks it in annoyance. His dying enemy gets on his nerves, but he himself gets on his nerves, because even though he knows it will end once he retreats, he is not able to do so. But how can he retreat? Straightforward attacks without strategy. If it is a shame to turn his back to such attacks, it is also a disgrace not to block them. His enemy will self-destruct once he retreats, but he has a presentiment that he will lose something important if he does so. The worries will end soon. His enemy is at his limits. He will fall after 2 more blows, or 3 at most. He clucks his tongue at the stupid thought. He previously thought that his enemy would last 2 more blows, but he has received over 10 blows since then. The boy will not fall. He cannot hear the boy's voice. The dying boy frantically opposes the obstacle in front of him. That figure. He stares at the figure with his own eyes for the first time. I keep swinging the sword with arms that are about to tear off. The only thing I have left is this one thing I'm saying with all my might. My barrage of strikes are compensation for that scream. There were people that could not save others, and there was me who could not save them. I swore to myself never to let such a thing happen again, seeing the memories that meaninglessly disappeared. How long has it been since then? There were things I lost, and there were things I dropped. There are always things that will be forgotten. So I swore to myself never to forget this one fact. To become a superhero. I will protect it even if it isn't my wish, or even if it is just sophistry to soften my guilt. It has to come true. The person who saved me died, leaving those words behind. I believe in the wish contained in those words. Even if everyone in this world disagrees with me, and even if I curse and even if I myself curse me, And so, he realizes that the attacks will not end. His enemy will not stop. He will not stop from his own will. The boy is attacking with all his might, but he is not looking at his opponent. The thing the boy is trying to defeat is his obstacle, his own self that is hindering himself. He is swinging his sword to enforce what he has believed in, what he will keep on believing in. Realizing that, the man grits his teeth in annoyance. The boy keeps challenging it, knowing that he won't win and that there's no meaning to it. That is the exact mistake he has detested. So why? Why does he want to see how long the boy can continue? He raises his longsword. His enemy's attacks are something he has to take seriously. He repels the attacks and crushes his enemy's skull for sure. A clanging sound. The fatal attack is easily deflected. The one who could not block his attacks until now repels a swing made with all his might. He gasps. He sees his enemy repel his sword and get back into stance. The boy's eyes are looking straight at... The impact causes one of my arms and legs to break. My sense of pain hasn't been numbed. I use my fury to clamp down the pain that almost makes me pass out. The left side of the enemy's chest is open. Since half my body has broken, this will be my final blow. But such thoughts do not fill my head. The only thing in my head is... He pulls back his longsword to protect his open left side. He will make it. He will easily make it. This is my final blow. That's the only thing in my head. Even if SHIROU is a fake, this is absolutely true. For everyone to be happy, that is an ideal everyone thinks of. So I won't back down. Because this dream is... the unwavering gaze. Faults and lies, shaking off everything, running without stopping. Those words are driven into his chest. An attack made at full strength, defense that should have been fast enough. The cogwheels never got into gear, and the battle is decided quickly. He hears the sound of the blade piercing him. The one surprised is the knight in red. His enemy attacked with determination to defeat him. Then it is natural for his attack to do so. The boy does not need to be surprised, nor does he have anything to spare to be surprised. That is why the knight is the only one that is surprised. It is a great wonder how he could not block an attack he could have easily blocked. I support myself with my unbroken right leg. The sword in my hand has pierced Archer's chest. Was she watching all this time from that place? Still standing at the entrance, Saber questions Archer. Archer does not answer. He might not need to answer. Or maybe he doesn't know the answer. My fingers throb. My broken fingers scream at me that they do not want to hold the sword anymore. The knight in red does not move. Even with the blade in his chest, a servant should be able to easily counterattack. But his hands are lowered and show no sign of moving. I know without being told what that means. I make the declaration while looking at him. God, can I just say really quick? The composition of this CG, fantastic. Takashi Takeuchi is amazing at composition. The knight in red closes his eyes once, and...
ああ、そして私の敗北だ。
He murmurs while looking off into the distance, as if to convince himself. I pull out the sword. The projected weapon disperses as soon as it touches outside air. The tension floods out of me, and I finally take notice of my condition. It's terrible. The slashed wounds are healing, but lots of places are turning dark red. Archer said something about Saber's sheath, but what's that power putting priority on? It heals the torn flesh at once, but it seems to be putting off the broken bones until later. Then, I hear loud footsteps from the west side, the hallway that Lancer disappeared into. Someone's coming. She appears in the terrace and jumps down without hesitation. And she moans in pain at her landing.
シロ、無事って、あーちゃん、あんたその傷どうしちゃったのよ。
She follows her sudden arrival with a torrent of questions. It seems Lancer saved Tosuka as he promised, but Tosuka's energy takes the power out of me. Does she want to check on my safety, or is she angry about Archer's wound?
まったく、つくづく甘い。彼女がもう少し非道な人間なら、私もかつての自分になど戻らなかったもの。
How are we only like halfway through this day, Jesus? He talks sarcastically, but his voice only contains warmth. After looking at Tosuka once, the knight in red steps back as if to exit the stage.
ともあれ、決着はついた。お前を認めてしまった以上、エミヤなどという英雄はここにはいられん。敗者は早々に立ち去るとしよ
う。Without saying goodbye to Tosuka, huh? His wound is deep, and he has no master. He will disappear here, and he will return to the original place as a heroic spirit. It happens in an instant. It is a fatal attack that takes the opening in me, as I have relaxed after seeing Tosuka. Several swords are called forth. The rain of swords comes down to pierce Emiya Shirou's body, and... I fall. I'm pushed back and I fall on my butt. I'm pushed back about a meter. In front of me, my broken limbs cannot support my body, and I do not have the power to get back up. And so, I can only look up at myself that got skewered in front of me. Saber's scream cuts open the silence. She is looking at the second floor, on top of the crumbled stairs.
楽しませてもらったぞ。偽物同士。実にくだらない戦いだった。
貴様、アーチャー。
10年ぶりだな、セイバー。お前とはもう少し早く顔合わせをする気であったが、予定が変わった。予想外の事故ばかり起きてな。
Servant Gilgamesh, the one to defeat Berserker, and the one who killed Iliaspil. He turns aside Saber's glare and looks down at me and the skewered archer.
さて、理解したか？それが本物の重みというものだ。いかに形を見せ力を見せようが、所詮は作り物。本物の輝きには及ばない。
He raises his hand. It's as if he is ordering his soldiers.
偽物が作り上げた贋作など見るのも汚らわしい。クズめ。貴様らのうちには何一つ新作が存在せぬ。他人の真似事だけで出来上がった偽物は、即ゴミになるがいい。
He shoots numerous noble phantasms. The unavoidable rain pours down. There are about 30 of them. I couldn't dodge or block them even if I was in perfect condition. Clouds of dust spring up. The shower of swords tears apart the already ruined hall. But even in the midst of the chaos, I see it. The red cloak flies. Still skewered, he runs to me and pushes me once again. I'm pushed away from the red figure. His eyes are telling me, you defeat him. That as long as I defeated Archer and as long as I want to be a superhero, I must defeat him. The clouds of dust fill my vision. The red cloak sinks inside the rubble. But I see it before he disappears. His eyes are filled with confidence. That servant is no match for us, Emiya SHIROU. Neither Saber nor Tosaka will be the one to defeat him. My own self is telling me that Emiya SHIROU is the natural enemy of that servant. My vision clears up. Dust is in the air, and the rubble is piled high. There is nothing else. The knight in red disappeared underneath the rubble.
ほう、驚いたぞアーチャー。あの傷で他人を救う余裕があったとはな。
His sarcastic words contain some scorn. The man smiles in satisfaction as he looks down at the hall filled with Archer's blood. Silence falls. Gilgamesh is the most powerful being here. Anyone that moves will follow Archer's fate. Even Saber is silent, wondering how best to attack the enemy. But with Archer's death, Tosaka has lost her composure. Light runs across space. Pure destructive force, magical energy released from the jewel without any processing. He does not even dodge it. He isn't even scratched.
死に損ないを先にするつもりだったのだが、順序が変わったな、女。
He orders the swords behind him to carry out Tosaka's execution. The sword is released at high velocity. Saber runs with surpassing speed and protects her master.
Saber! リン、下がって。あの男は危険だ。手を出せば殺されます。
ほう？今のマスターはその小娘か。よかろう。ならば今の無礼は不問に付す。お前を失っては楽しみが減るからな。
Saber glares at the enemy while readying her invisible sword.
なぜここにいるアーチャー？オウミは前回の聖杯戦争で呼ばれたサーバント。そのあなたがなぜ今回も限界している？
なぜも何もあるまい。前回の戦いが終わった後、我は消えずにこの世に留まっただけだが。
そんなバカな。サーバントは聖杯が消えた時点でこの世との接点をなくすはずだ。なれば
そうでもないぞ。もとよりこの世との接点は聖杯ではなくよりしろとなったマスターだ。聖杯はあくまで道を通したに過ぎん。聖杯が消えた後も魔術師が魔力を提供し続ければこの世にはとどまれる。
Ah, yes, the basement full of orphans.
もっとも聖杯の助力なしでサーバントを維持できるマスターなどそうはいないがな。その点で言えば俺のよりしろは魔力不足ではあった。
ならばどちらにせよあなたがとどまれるはずがない。サーバントを持つことにマスターが耐えられないならあなたは召喚者ともども枯渇しているはずだ。
それもやりようであろう。魔術回路が少なければ知識で補うのが魔術師という輩だ。その点で言えば俺のマスターはなかなかに筋金の入った男だった。
Was? Then his master is gone now. No, his master is Shinji. The fact that he, the man who would not obey anyone, obeyed Shinji is the proof of that.
ではあなたのマスターはライダーのマスターと同じように。
ああ、事故で補えなければ他人から奪うのは当然だろう。だが実を言えばそのような手間もいらなかったのだがな。俺は聖杯を浴びた唯一のサーバントだ。この時代における受肉など10年前に済ませている。
Yep, our boy took a bath in Grail mud, and that's why he's acting like this. Saber stares at the man in astonishment. I mean, he's always an arrogant, selfish, just absolute bastard of a man. But the Grail mud made him significantly worse. Saber hangs her head at the words 10 years ago.
そう、お前のおかげだぞ。あれが何であるか我は誰よりも熟知している。何しろその心欲をぶちまけられ中にあるものを見たのだからな。
Some foreshadowing for the next route.
ああ、聖杯の正体を理解した。その時に決めた。あれは俺だけが扱うとな。
Saber. No, looking down at all of us, he declares something that is unbefitting for a servant.
聖杯をあなたが使うだと。
そう、マスターなどという寄生動物に分け与えてやる義理もあるまい。俺は俺の目的のために聖杯を使おう。その最大の障害であった召喚者、先ほど消え、残ったものはより代にもならぬ魔術師もどきだけだ。俺の望みにはそのなり損ないこそがふさわしい。もっともお前の肉ならあるいは完全な聖杯が出来上がるやもしれんが、さて。
The man looks at Tosaka. Tosaka must feel the danger as she grows pale and steps back. His red eyes are ominous. One would feel uncomfortable under the weight of that gaze. His eyes are so aberrant that even Tosaka is frightened of them.
バカな。聖杯はマスターが得るものだ。我らサーバントでは得られないからこそマスターに協力するのだろう。
それこそがおかしな話だ。聖杯に触れられるのはサーバントだけでありながら、聖杯を得られるのはマスターだけだというのか。
しかしそれは
全てはくだらぬざれ言だ。7人のマスターによる聖杯の奪い合い、最後の一人となったマスターのみが聖杯を得る儀式だと。そんなものはただの隠れ蓑に過ぎん。もとより聖杯の恒例など済んでいる。連中は毎回聖杯を用意してから7人のサーバントを呼ぶ。わかるか騎士よ。連中が必要としたのは聖杯ではなく、その中に入るものだ。マスターなど元は我らを呼ぶためだけの回路に過ぎん。魔術師どもはな、聖杯を作りはしたがその中身を用意できなかった。先ほども言っただろ。事故で補えないのならよそから奪ってくるのが奴らだと。聖杯を満たす最高純度の魔力、守護者ともいえる霊長最強の魂こそが奴らが求めたものだ。7人のサーバントとはな。
Saber looks up at the man in astonishment. Her eyes are desperately trying to deny his words. That it isn't possible. She is trying to deny it, saying that what she wished for, the Holy Grail, cannot be such a thing.
驚くことはあるまい。聖杯は魂という本人でなければ制御できぬ力を純粋な魔力に返すろ過器だ。ああ、確かにそれならば願いは叶おう。魔術師どもにとっては永遠に使い切れぬ魔力量だろうからな。故に 生贄は多ければ多いほど良い。6人ものサーバントをくべればそれは万能と言えるだろう。聖杯が汲み取ったサーバントは5人。奴らが目指した万能の釜まではあと1人分で十分だ。
それではやはり聖杯はマスターにしか扱えない。聖杯が純粋な魔力の貯蔵庫だというのなら扱えるのは魔術師だけだ。そうだ。持ち主となるマスターさえ優れた術者ならきっと
あらゆる願いを叶えられるか。たわけ、人間風情にそのような奇跡は与えられん。どれほど強大な力を持とうと自滅するのが人間というものだ。だが安心しろセイバー、この聖杯は本物だ。きちんと7人分の英霊を組み込めば必ず原初に到達する。
原初？ちょっと待った。じゃあ聖杯ってまさか。
何者かは知らんが、最初にこのルールを敷いた者は間違いなく神域の天才だろうよ。まあしかし俺には関係のない話ではある。俺はそんなものに興味はない。あるのは聖杯の門としての能力だけだ。
聖杯が門だと。
10年前だセイバー。あと一歩で聖杯を手に入れるという時、俺はお前に阻まれた。聖杯は聖剣によって両断され、こぼれ落ちたものは炎となって町を焼き払った。聖杯の真下にいた俺は当然その本流を一身に浴びたのだ。
I just got some kind of pop-up about this. Huh? Tagu Makuro VR something Shimasen something Made file unlimited blade works no tag dot text something to kudasai. I don't know what this is.
その時に聖杯の正体を知った。実にくだらぬが使い道はある。数ある兵器の中でもあれほど殺人に特化したものはあるまい。あれはあのままでいい。万能の釜になどする必要はない。
Also, congrats, you have all now witnessed my absolute inability to read kanji.
兵器、聖杯がサーバントを持って生み出すものが兵器だというのか、アーチャー。
もともと我らとて兵器だろう。あれはそれを突き詰めたものに過ぎん。聖杯とは地獄の門。一度開けば中からは56億もの呪いが溢れ出す。琴峰は言っていなかったか。聖杯の名はアンリマユ。
Angry Mango.
その名の通り、すべての人間を食いつぶす終わりの泥だと。
Angramanyu? I think that's the name of the devil in Zoroastrianism. Shiro, I can't believe you just know that off the top of your head. But yes, that is what that is. The leader of evil that opposes God for many thousands of years. It is an embodiment of the evil in all human, and it is depicted as a reflected image of all humanity's goodwill. But why is the Holy Grail named after the ancient Persian devil?
では、あなたの目的は？
そう一層だ。俺は琴峰のように人間をめでようと努める気はない。めでるべきはこの世界は楽しいがな。同様にどしがたい。凡白の雑種が生を謳歌するなど王に対する冒涜だ。それでは治める気にもなれん。
バカじゃないのあんた。何が王に対する冒涜よ。人間が一人もいなくなったらそれこそ王様の意味なんてないじゃない。
死に絶えるのならばそれでよい。自らの罪で消え去るのなら生きる価値などはあるまい。俺が欲しいものは雑種ではない。地獄の中ですら生き延びられる者にこそ支配される価値がある。その点で言えば前回のは落第だったな。あの程度の火で死に絶えるなど今の人間は弱すぎる。
He grins. For the first time, he looks at me, who he said is a failure.
この世すべての悪とやらが何者であるかは知らん。だが都合が良いだろう。すべての人間に等しく落ちる死の咎。人より生まれた人だけを殺す底なしの闇。本来俺がすべき仕事を任せるにはふさわしい猟犬だ。
Gilgamesh raises his hand. Behind him are noble phantasms waiting for the king's order.
では10年前の続きといこう。あの時はくだらぬゴミが混ざったが、こたびはあのようなゴミはおらん。もっともそれ以上にたちが悪いクズが混ざっているようだが。
The swords are all pointed at me. I will my broken legs to stand, but they do not move. Damn, I can't even manage to block one of those. So why did Archer leave behind that message? The swords disappear. The golden servant suddenly lowers his arm. After looking up at the ceiling in discomfort, he brushes away the dust on his shoulder.
すすで汚れる。命拾いしたな、小僧。
The castle is burning. I don't know who set the fire, but it must be huge. The third floor is burning down, and the second floor has caught as well. No, that's not the surprising thing. He really stopped the battle just because he was going to get dirty from the ashes.
逃げるのですか、アーチャー。
場所を変えるだけだ、セイバー。聖杯は俺の手にある。ことは迅速に済ますのが俺の方針だからな。早々に聖杯を作り、地獄の穴を開けてやろう。
His golden hair flutters. Gilgamesh walks to the terrace that isn't yet burning.
取り戻したければ早めにしろ。何しろ今回の聖杯は急増の欠陥品だ。急がなければ中身がすべてこぼれてしまうぞ。
His stifled laughter echoes through the room. Oh boy. Okay, OBS looked really bad for a second, but I think we're fine now. And he leaves the burning castle like that. Sparks are dancing through the room, and the ceiling is tinted red. The gorgeous castle shows no traces of what it used to be. The castle without a master crumbles without a trace, as if to follow the girl in white. Interlude. Okay, hang on. No, I need to check where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4 more scenes. And one of them I know is really, really long. Oh, I really wanted to do all of this at once. But we've been going for almost 3 hours, so I do think I'm gonna call it here, in fact. And so next week, we will finish up this penultimate day. I apologize. I really want to try to do 1 day per stream, but some of these are just really long. Especially once we get towards the end. So yeah, next week we will wrap up this day. Tomorrow I am planning to stream more Grand Blue Verses, but we'll see if that actually happens. It might not. Because I'm doing some stuff tomorrow. But yeah, thank you to everybody who stopped by, and I hope to see you all next time.